What's up, guys? Jeff JTS here, and today I'm going to talk to you about the third pyramid of our four pillars that lead to fat loss and transformation success. And that revolves around training priority and cardio. Okay, because I see a lot of mistakes happen with this, and people are doing it out of sequence and they're not actually optimizing the results that they can based on the prioritizing of importance to results. All right, so this pillar is all about training priority and cardio. All right, so whoop. For training priority and cardio, again, just like everything else, we have our pillar, but it's all built off of a pyramid. And this pyramid, I'm gonna move the camera a little bit for you guys. This pyramid revolves around timetables. Okay, so these whole timetables work to make sure that we're prioritizing our training in the most optimal way for the time allowance that we have. All right, so the primary function here is if we have, this is going to be 3 to 5 hours. So if we have 3 to 5 hours a week that we can dedicate to training, we're going to be focusing on weight training and HIIT. Okay, so if we have 3 to 5 hours a week that we can dedicate to training, we're going to be spending that time primarily in weight training, so heavy weight training, and then high intensity interval training, so that's HIIT, HIIT. So our weight training is going to look like weightlifting, powerlifting, some sort of bodybuilding style training where we're going to actively be engaging our muscles as optimally as possible, and then we're going to add in some high intensity interval training. So this is like circuits with weights, metabolic sense, stuff like that. Okay, now that again is 3 to 5 hours. If we have more than 5 hours, so we have 5 to 6 hours, we're going to spend the next hour following that. We're going to keep the first 3 to 5 hours the exact same. And now we're just going to add in aerobic interval training. Oops, can't spell. Now, like I said, for the first 5 hours, we're still doing our weight training and our high intensity interval training. After that 5 hours, for our 5 to 6 hour time, we're going to be working on aerobic interval training. So this is going to be things like body weight sets, a little bit more cardio based sets where we're doing maybe like Tabata sprints where that's like 20 on, 10 off. That's going to be an aerobic interval, okay? So this is just to burn some more calories, but it's not going to be based on strength training itself. So again, this is, maybe we do rowing, running, some sort of body weight movements, things that are going to be more on the aerobic side of training, not the anaerobic side. All right. From there, if we have 6 to 8 hours, we'll go 6 to 8 hours. We're going to now add in high intensity steady state cardio. All right. So again, same premise applies. We're keeping our first 5 hours the same with our weight training and our high intensity training. We're then going to add 1 hour of aerobic training. For the 6 to 8 hours, we're now going to be adding in high intensity steady state cardio. So what that means is we might be doing something like a 5K or 1K or shorter durations where we can keep the intensity very, very high. Things that are going to challenge us and tax us. So a good example would be an all-out 5K run or an all-out 3K row, or an airdyne bike for 20 minutes as hard as possible. Okay, so that would be what's high intensity, steady state cardio. It's maintaining a very high rate of of energy exertion for a steady period of time. Okay, so there's no rest in this period. It's just straight work, and it's for the hours of 6 to 8. Okay, and then the final training phase that we have for our training priorities in cardio is going to be steady state low intensity. So I'm going to actually okay, so how I distinguish this is high intensity is going to be things that are under 30 minutes in total duration. Because by going for longer than 30 minutes, you can't truly have a high intensity output. However, when we get into the final point of our period or our work time, anything over 8 hours, we can start adding in the low intensity, and that's things like 35 minutes to an hour to 2 hours of cardio, where those are things like walking, rowing, running for marathons. Now, there is also that one question that I usually get from someone that is maybe a marathon runner, and it's how do you distinguish this based on performance? Okay, so if we were doing people that the average person that we're talking about here for the low intensity is doing cardio, most of their cardio for 35 minutes plus in a low intensity state where their heart rate's not fully peaked as high as it could, and they're just kind of going through the motions to get there. Now, I have the people that do this where they're marathon runners or long duration runners, but they run at a very, very high pace. So where I would dictate this is if you're in the 5 minute to about 7.5 minute mile time, and you're prolonging that for longer than half a marathon, so what, 12 miles, then I would still consider you in the high intensity cardio phase. Otherwise, you'd be phasing yourself into the low intensity. Now, optimizing this will give you better results and better long-term results, as well as allow you to see success in the time frames that are available to you, because that's what's important. Oftentimes I see this pyramid flipped upside down, which doesn't lead to the optimal results and body transformations you're looking for. So again, if you only have 3 to 5 hours, you're doing weight training and high intensity interval training. Once you've hit 5 hours, for the 5th hour you have there, so the hour between 5 and 6, you're then adding aerobic interval training. So that's body weight training, cardio training, where it's work to rest. Okay, so you're doing intervals there. From there, between the 6 to 8 hour range, you're going to add a high intensity steady state cardio. So that's adding in, 30-minute sessions of maximal output at the same consistent pace and steadiness. And then finally, for anything over 8 hours, we're then going to add in our low intensity energy burning calories just to get some time. So make sure you're doing this in the priority and the time associated with what you have available to optimize your results and see long-term success, as well as train around the availability that you have, instead of forcing something that's going to make you fall out of success or not be sustainable. Because by training in this system, you're going to always know the hierarchy of training that's going to lead you to the results that you're looking for. So again, 3 to 5 hours. Once you've hit that 5 hour mark and have more time, you can then add in that aerobic capacity, aerobic intervals. After the 6 hours, you can add in high intensity interval or high intensity steady state. And then finally, anything over 8, you're adding in that low intensity burn. All right, guys, take care.